Right, guys, it's raining again today, which is good because we always need the rain. And the springs, they're still not fully running, so, it's the more rain you have, the better, really. Um, and I know it's not like, it's not. But we have plenty of sunshine here, so you can't complain when it rains. If it's not raining, it's usually beautiful. It's not muggy and windy like the UK. It's either beautiful or it's raining. For the most part, we can have a little bit of a few cloudy days from time to time, but that means usually it's raining somewhere, not necessarily where you are. Anyway, which all kind of makes sense. So I was watching this episode just now, ITM Trading. It's called ITM Trading. Daniela Camboni. I think she's a Brazilian descent Canadian, and I think she operates now in the USA anyway. And she's a very good interviewer, and she's interviewing this guy, and they're talking about gold. ITM Trading's gold. It's a gold place. But now with digital gold, and I always thought this for years, I thought, wouldn't it be great if you could get digital gold, right, and borrow against it. And then you could keep the gold. And when you borrow against things like in these, and it can be decentralized, so you're not reliant on a bank who are criminals, and they'll freeze your account and they'll do all the rest of it. This is highly unlikely and decentralized. They call it DeFi. I know a lot of people know that, but DeFi, and they've just started doing the gold-backed borrowing, lending, and so it's called Aave. The platform that I'm using anyway, it's called Aave. So there's certain things that are advantageous to you, right? So normally when you you put an asset in, and then you can borrow against the asset. So most people think, well, why would you want to do that? And then you do pay it back with interest. People think, well, why would you do that? And the answer is because you can put the money what you borrow, into something that you think is going to gain in value, like more gold. You can have your gold sat there, borrow 80% of the value of the gold, and you can only borrow against gold at the moment in dollar stable coins. And I chose USDC. And then I converted it into something else, which doesn't matter in this conversation, but it's something that I think will go up more than the interest that you've got to pay back. And the gold, typically these days, is going up more than 10% a year. And you only pay 5%, just over, per year, interest. So this gold, forget about this. This doesn't have to go up, but you've got to pay back 5% interest, just over. It's 5.3, something like that, right? So if the gold just on its own goes up 10%, then you've won. And you could say, well, what if these people who's holding they holding the gold, right? You've got to put it in their smart contract. What if they skedaddle? What if they decide that they're going to take the gold and run? Well, you know where it is for the start, because you can see the addresses and everything. So you'll know the address at least. And and that's not why they're doing it. They're doing it just because when you borrow 80% against that, the 80% is in your possession. If you do it right, anyway. So if they disappeared with that, you've still got this, and you're not going to pay them back, are you? So it's not in their interest to do anything like that, and they probably can't anyway in the DeFi, because they'd have to get into the smart contracts. It's not somebody's doing this for you. This is a smart contract. It's on a ledger. It's on a blockchain. That's the contract. Anyway, so that's the ins and outs of it. But the reason that I thought gold was good is that it's going up. Like it or not, it's going to keep going up. Eventually, it doesn't go up in a straight line. No, nothing does. Anyway, so your gold is there, and you've got, and you can always, repay and retrieve the gold, and then if you do get liquidated, you can get liquidated if this gold goes below a certain value. You can get a liquidation, but you can just put more in, or just pay it off and take it out. There's a few options open, a couple of options there, and you'll always keep the 80%, but most people don't go up to the full 80%, which I don't, because that's your full capacity, and it doesn't give you much wiggle room with things going up and down. Anyway, but you're going to keep hold of whatever's there, and it's in your possession. It's not like a bank who've got your money and they just close your account if they want to. If they feel like. These can't, and they don't know who you are, and there's no KYC. And when you borrow against this gold here, it's non-taxable event. Very important to some people. It would be very, very important point to make. It's a non-taxable event as it stands today. Right? So I've been thinking about that for years, a couple of years. Wouldn't it be good that if you could borrow against gold, and now you can? There's another outfit that do borrow against gold. I think there's a couple now, a few, sorry. And one of them's called Coin Rabbit, but you've got to join that. You might have to give KYC there, I don't know. But Aave, you don't. AAVE. So the gold is Tether Gold. And Tether Gold is backed by gold, and it's in Switzerland. And Tether are buying 2 ton of gold a month. I worked it out the other day how much that was, because Bulgaria's just bought 2 ton of gold. But these are buying a 2 ton of gold every month. And where are they getting the money from? From all these loans, transactions. They make money on them. and they, they've got this collateral, the gold here. It's yours, but it's in their possession. So they've got to back that with physical gold, and they can do it by buying it with that. With that, your tether gold. Genius. Anyway, if you think about it and you know a little bit about these things, and so what my theory is, well, it's not a theory, it's like almost a given, that this gold is going to go up more than 5% a year. So that's break even. 5.3%, and you've broken even. Now, if you put this somewhere, you can just buy more gold, or if it's like USDC, which is a US dollar coin, you can put that back into Aave, but I wouldn't do that because all your collateral's then back with somebody else, right? Maybe put it somewhere else and get some, you can stake it. But I just bought another asset. You can just buy more gold. The US dollar coin is not going to go up, so it's not worth just keeping that in dollars. That's not what you'd do it for. You'd be putting this somewhere somewhere where it's going to make money. Well, you can stake it, and you can put it back into Aave, but you'd break even then on this, which is there's no point. This is to do with making money, not like to break even. Anyway, so a really safe bet would be to just buy more gold with that, and with the assumption that it'll go up 10%, and that'll go up 10%, and that will, right? And when that goes up 10% here, just convert it back into USDC and pay the interest off the loan, and then get another loan out on whatever you want to do. After a year or 6 months, a lot of people say just pay bits back, but the more transactions you do, the more fees there are. And if this is converted into something else, then you'd have to convert it back into USDC and then transfer it back into Aave. So there's 2-3 transactions straight away. And so I don't think it's worth paying off. I'd say probably look at it where you are after 6 months, right? So that's the theory, and it's out of the bank. Everything's out of the bank. You're not trusting third parties for anything. All you're trusting is like if Aave disappear, you've still got this in your possession. You've actually got it in your possession, not in an account, like a bank account, where say you get a loan off the bank, it's still in the bank. The loan, unless you spend it all, anyway. But if you're investing, that's not the idea. You're not going to spend it. This is not for spending. This is for investing more. This is a way of investing there and over here as well. And if they both go up, then you're laughing with a straight face, as my friend used to say. So that's in a nutshell. That's Aave. Now these people, ITM trading, these are a big concern, and now they're talking about it. And I didn't know until today that Tether Gold is not yet legal in the USA. So this is happening outside the USA. Aave is not a USA company. I don't know where they're based. I think it's in Finland. I think it is. I don't know where they're actually registered. But like, they've been around for years and years and years. Donkey's years. They used to be called Eathland, and now they're called Arve, which means ghost in Finnish language. So it's all happening. And so that's just a little pointer on what you can do these days. And people say, oh, it's a risk, and this and that, the other, and la 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 la. Well, there's no bigger risk than having your money in a bank, and you don't get nothing for it. Zero, zilch, nada. What you get is charges and threats, and people, and you're forever under threat of, and even more so now, of getting questioned about where you're spending your money. And that's another thing. I mean, how would you get out of all this into like the real world, as we say? And money, fiat money, well, you just go to Kosovo or somewhere like that, and they'll swap it for you and give you euros there and then on your phone, so you don't walking about with euros. You put it into your euro account. They could do that just straight away. Revolut, boom, in. But like, or you can get cash, and then there's no record of anything, nothing. You could do it in Bulgaria, actually. You can go to the ATM and withdraw, but the fees are a little bit like tiny bit high, because you've got to get it into Bitcoin and then withdraw. Levs or euros it's going to be, by the look of it, after January. But like, this is the type of thing. I mean, this is, this, when we were kids, we couldn't, ordinary people, poor people, you couldn't invest in stocks and shares and all that. You can do all that now. Anyone can do it. Robin Hood. And I've got an account with this outfit called Bitpanda, and you can invest in everything there. Commodities, gold, silver. But they charge you for keeping the gold there. I mean, Arve, there's no charge there. And and you can do all the stocks and shares, ETFs, indexes, S&P 500, do a lot. Bitpanda, they're based in Vienna, Austria. There's all sorts of things you can do. But you got to be careful with Bitpanda. You've got to do KYC. And I don't do anything now. Nothing. Zero with KYC. Nothing. Know your customer. That's when you've got to give proof of address and ID. And they're actually in control of your assets. And they can actually close your account as well. Bitpanda. People like that. But like Arve, it's decentralized, DeFi, decentralized finance. They can't come into your smart contract. Anyway, so that's some of the things that you can do. But you've got to do a lot of research. This is advanced. This is advanced stuff for people who are thinking about getting into these things. But it's very simple. I mean, once you get on the Arve platform, and you can go and have a look at it. Just search Arve.com. That's it. And it'll explain everything. And there's lots and lots of videos about it, on how to do it. Like Arve for Idiots. That's the one I went on. Okay, Cheers.